I've been doing this for about 41 years. I basically started with Harrison Phillips out of Memphis, Tennessee. That was back when John Danruther and Harrison both were going to flea markets. This is before really the circuit started. And slowly I got into the circuit and went to conventions around America and started buying and selling coins. At first, when I started dealing in silver dollars, I would have sliders I didn't know were sliders. I thought they were BU and I was trying to sell them. Then I slowly got to where I knew what I was doing. As time went by, 41 years goes by, and I spent pretty well my lifetime on the coin circuit.
And how did you go from ABC Records to your next job?
Well, a while ago I mentioned a guy named Harrison Phillips. He's passed since then. Tom Phillips is his brother, a very good friend of mine. And I started getting into the coin business. Because I found out I was making $38,000 a year back then. That's a lot of money, by the way. I mean, a lot of money for the late 60s and early 70s. Company car, all expenses, and I went to a coin show and I make $3,000, $4,000 in a weekend. I'm thinking, that's too easy. Then after a while, I went to where I was making, after about the first 6 months, I never went to a coin show for 41 years that I didn't make $5,000 and or more at every coin show. That's after expenses. As a matter of fact, 5,000 my low point. My highest point was, this is going to sound exaggeratory, I know we're on film, but I was at the Fund convention, I had $4 million in sales and cleared $375,000 in a 4-day show. So I made $30 million in 4 days.
Tell me about how you did your business in coins.
Well, the markets was a coin circuit. It set itself. So you had to follow where the coins went, where the market is at coin shows. The major markets were, at that time, Long Beach, the American Numismatics Association, the Fund Show, Central States. Those are the main shows you made all your money at because there'd be a lot of dealers. But they had shows everywhere. They had Montgomery, Alabama. They had Detroit, Michigan. They had them everywhere. So we'd make a schedule up, and we'd just hit every show every weekend because it was just like picking cotton in a cotton field. Nobody owns the field. You know what I mean? It's just that easy.
So John, why were you able to be so successful in the coin business?
Now you get into ego. I'm pretty OCD. I have a good retainability. I was born with a better than average brain. I don't know how to say it. But I see things that other people didn't see. I see opportunities that other people didn't see. And because I was so really, as you say, just active, I've been very active all the time, I would go to a table to make $1,000. I'd go to the table to make $2. And I set up, I made markets for 15 or 20 years, and that's when really I became silver dollar. That's when I made most of my money. But I about rode $10 gold pieces and sold those for $350,000. I bought all kinds of coins. Matter of fact, I did have Leon Henderson, Silvertown financed the coin, and Mark Yaffe at National Gold Exchange and myself at the time partnered the coin. But the 1852-051 Augustus Humbert gold, proof gold, we sold that for $1.4 million, which is the first $1 million coin that ever got sold.
So John, what was your fascination with silver dollars, and why did you pursue that market?
Well, I guess because, again, I major in economics, so I'm looking at the bottom line. You look at the bourse floor and you see wheat pennies, you see nickels, dimes, quarters, commems, gold, and silver dollars. Well, gold is God. You know, it just takes care of everything. It's one thing, like Heritage Capital Corporation. I mean, they thrive on gold, and Gold Line and other companies thrive on that. Well, I understand that I didn't really want to do gold. At the time when I first started, it took a lot of money to do gold. You'd have to have $1 million inventory just to compete, so that wasn't going to work. I did like silver dollars a lot. I just always did. I liked them. I love the Morgan dollars, and I like the peace dollars almost as much. But as one thing went to another, I started, as I said earlier, I had all these BU dollars, and I was taking them to different people, and they'd kick out half of them. They said they weren't BUs. I studied and studied and studied and had people, to help me think about that and look at it in a different way, in certain ways, mint luster and etc. I could find out you can find a coin that's got a really baggy, it'd be uncirculated. If one that's really slick, it's been circulated and or I don't know, just polished or something like that. It took a while to figure it out. Anyway, after college, it basically took me longer to learn in the coin business than it did to go to college and learn. It just really was pretty difficult.
The silver dollar market didn't last forever. What did you do after that market changed?
This is going to sound like I didn't answer your question. You're driving in LA traffic. and you're going 70 miles an hour is a slow lane. You're driving in LA traffic, you're going 85 miles an hour out in the left lane, so they didn't have the carpool lanes at the time. And all of a sudden, everybody's clogged up in the right lane, and you're driving 85, you don't stop and see what's going over in those lanes. You just don't do it. You just keep going until something stops you. Well, there are different aspects of the coin business, things that sell hot and sell cold. Well, we had a crash in 1979 and 1980 after the Hunt brothers did that with the silver and everything. We had a crash in 89 and 90. We're in a slow market right now. But what you got to do is get out of the fast lane down to 75 miles an hour. You might get cautious, but you still keep doing what you do. I have customers. I have built-in places. I always sold to bigger companies, masses of dollars. I sold to James Blanchard. So to Investment Rarities, Gold Line, multiple different places where I was always a volume dealer. After now 41 years in the business, I don't have a retail customer. I never had a retail customer. There's a story that I can tell you later, but just retail customers were, you sell a coin, and I'm always about taking all the groceries home to all the kids, you know what I mean? So therefore, I'm buying and selling dollars. We call it the roaring 80s. Somehow, it just happened, You don't just, I'm going to do this. It just happens. And when it happens and you do something good, it keeps happening. You keep qualifying yourself to do that. But basically, I was the silver dollar guy at the time. I had tables. I had 6 across, okay? I had bags and bags of dollars. And dollars were where at. People weren't getting in line to collect $20 gold pieces. Those are investors or collectors or something like that. I decided that I always liked silver dollars, and I said I like Morgans and Peace both. I didn't deal in trade dollars, stuff like just Morgan dollars. But at that time, there were bags of dollars everywhere. I mean, now I'm talking about in the mid 70s. We had original mint so advanced for the United States Mint would run across. I probably did not more than 12 to 15, but they were hard to find anyway. And but everybody had dollar rows. Everybody had dollar rows. And so I would have a bid of, say, $40 a coin and sell at $45 a coin, okay? Well, I'm buying them at $800 a row and I'm selling to these guys at $900 a row, I'm making $100 a row. Well, you say, how do you get rich on that? Well, I sell thousands of rows. Right. I'm talking about thousands of rows per show. It slowed down after about 12, 13 years, and it died after 20 years. But I would sell thousands and thousands of bags of dollars. I mean, I sold well over 1 billion coins, well over 1 billion coins. It was just easy, And I would, there are people that compete with me. The people that compete with me, I don't make this to sound anywhere wrong when someone hears this tape, but Steve Kotorski was doing the same thing at the time. And I don't know, it's kind of like, and Mark Affey. It was kind of like a track race. It was a race to get all the coins and ship them. And some of us using the same companies. But somehow I just seem to work a little smaller margin sometimes, or wherever it may be, and nice to everybody, and I just got more coins, and after a while I became, toward the end, the only person who supplied all of them. But I would ship out of a small show at least 2 or 3 bags, of dollars. But a big show's 10, 15, 20 bags at a show. I remember what was the silver crash, 1986, silver went from $15 to $10 from Friday to Monday, and it just died. So we went from Long Beach, and a bunch of dealers that bring me stuff all the time came from Long Beach. They bought up a bunch of dollars at X price. This is what you call a market shift. So I'm at the Colorado Springs ANA mid-year convention, and they say to me, okay, what are you paying for dollars? Well, I was paying 40 before, but I don't, I'm smart enough to know I don't know,
right.
And that's one of the smartest things to do. When you don't know, don't guess, okay? So I'm thinking, maybe I should offer them $39 or $38 a coin. Maybe I shouldn't. No. Finally, I offered them, I told them I paid them $30 a coin. I got buried for a year. I mean, and then the companies, I'm not going to name the companies that I shipped to that had stuff from that show in the market. They said, we can send you back the coins or we can pay you later. Well, again, I'm pretty good at economics. I don't want those coins back. So I took a chance, so their extended payments came in. So therefore, it took 6 months for the 3 of them, or 4 of them, or 5 of them, or 6 of them. No particular name involved here, okay? But it took them forever to pay me, but they all paid me. So I still got my money back. In other words, if I paid $40 a roll and I sold for $40 coin and sold for 45, I still made $5 profit. If I take them back, I've been at 30. I've been buried for. I might have been out of the business.
Right.
You know.
With all the coins you've purchased over the years, did you ever keep some of them?
Before I amassed my silver dollar collection, before PCGS, before certified coins, I should say, I used to take some of the very, very best coins because, as I said, I started out not making much, and after a while I was making all the money you could think of. So therefore, I would just take the very, very best coins. They call them keepers. Almost every coin dealer does this, keeps keepers, and you put them back. So as the time went by, I realized that keeping keepers is not good economically. In other words, I'd have a coin that's a really high grade, say Missouri Commem, it's really hard to find.
Right.
It's worth, say, in high grade, it's worth $5,000. And it's really going to be good forever. What's good is good is good forever, okay? But after a year, it's worth $5,500. 10%, that's really good. Most markets, stock market, bonds,
right.
you know, people be glad for 10%. If you're a dealer, you can do both sides. You don't have to buy and sell, you have to pay the commissions. But I can take $5,000 in coins and sell them for $5,500 in a show in one day.
Right.
So after a while, I took all my best ones back out. But I did get hooked on silver dollars. When I got hooked on silver dollars, PCGS started. I slowly started collecting every day in silver dollars. And I did seminars between the Silver Dollar Roundtable and in Vegas and Long Beach, and I did them all over the country, okay? And I always tell people, when they're buying collections for silver dollars, buy the most expensive coin that you can afford with your budget first. Don't buy your ADSs. Right. Don't buy the 81. Don't buy this stuff. You can buy that next year. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be cheap. You know, period. It's like going to Walmart and buying your cars, 81Ss. That's how to dig at Walmart, sorry. Anyway, so I started putting together a collection. And after a while, because I made a lot of money in those days, I bought the first 93S and 5. I bought the Wayne Miller coin, the 90cc branch bent proof. It got graded at 64. Also 79.0 branch bent proof. I put together the first. Sometimes it gets lost in history, but I put together the first, no contest, first finest known collection. Okay, and it's in my encyclopedia, and it'll be up in my ebook too. And after a while, things evolved where I don't really want to talk about that caused me to have to sell my collection. So at that time, Jack Lee was a very good friend of mine. I mean, me and Jack Lee were friends forever, back to the Harrison Phillips, Tom Phillips days, John Danruther days, okay? But he was Jackson, Mississippi, great guy, owned tower loans, and he just was a really wonderful man. And I helped him build his collection at the same time. Of course, if there's two coins, I'm gonna keep the best one for myself at the time. But after a while, when I had what I call a bump in the road, I sold my entire collection, what was left, to him. I mean, he had been amassing a collection also, but let it be known no other way, between 1986 to 1990, I had the world's finest collection.
With all your years of experience, what are the most important things in life?
Well, first of all, you gotta take care of yourself, your health, and all that. Because you don't take care of that, you can't take care of anybody else. You know, you got to make sure you're solid first. It's kind of like when you go on an airplane. They say, make sure and put your air mask on. You're going to crash, and then put it on your kids. Well, if you put it on your kids first, and you die putting it on your kids, everybody dies. So you got to take care of yourself first. Okay. Setting that aside, I guess it's family. It's always family. I don't care anybody else. If people are not married, I can't do anything about that. If they got families. I've been divorced before, and I know everything didn't work out, but you got to work on the marriage, you got to work on your family and everything else. That's first. That's the very first. Then you can think about yourself.
And John, when everything's said and done, how would you like to be remembered?
I'd like to have this thing where I can live for 1 hour after I'm dead, to watch the people at my funeral and see how it goes. That's a joke. Okay, remember, I don't think it's, I think it's important but not important. Does that make sense? I have friends that died. Harlan White died, Dean Tafter died, people have died. And I'm at coin shows and it says, you know, I remember Harlan who? It happens all the time. I think it's going to be a John who. You know, I know maybe I'm in print more or out there more. in the medium or where it may be. It's still gonna be, he's a nice guy. That's about all I'm good.